what retention rate is and how to calculate it. Because if you don't understand those basic concepts, then you're going to be a little lost as to how this all applies. If you know me at all, you know that I'm very big on metrics, making sure that you are making data-informed decisions. So from a very basic perspective, I'm going to give you something that you can take a screenshot of. So I'm going to share my screen really quick, hopefully. Yes. Okay, here we go. And this is like a messy retention rate formula because I wrote it really quick, but I wanted to make sure that you have it. So retention rate is super simple to calculate on a napkin. And as a membership owner, you need to be able to do that. And yes, I'm going to give you at the end of this a link to a free calculator that can run all of these numbers for you. But you need to know how to do it on a napkin. So it's super simple. So you're just going to take the number of members you have at the end of the month. You're going to subtract out the new members you got this month. And then you're going to take that new number and you're going to divide it by the number of members you had at the start of the month. That's going to give you a decimal, like 0.9, for example. And then you just multiply that times 100. So that's your retention rate, E minus N over S. Don't ever forget that because you need to be able to calculate it on your own. And if you're looking for churn, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I thought this was about churn. I want to talk about churn, not retention. Well, churn is just the opposite of retention. So 1 minus whatever number you got is your churn rate. So I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page there because I cannot tell you how many times I have even 7-figure membership owners that come to me and apply to be in my program and they say, I don't really know what my retention rate is. And no, I don't know how to calculate it. So that basic thing is so important for us. And I'm going to go into a little bit more metrics as well because again, I really want you to understand why churn is so important. And so this is a spreadsheet that if you've never seen anything called a growth ceiling, you're going to thank me for showing this to you, and you're also going to hate me for showing this to you, but it's going to give you a lot of relief as to maybe why you're experiencing what you're experiencing inside of your membership. I'm telling you, like, even the multi-7-figure membership owners, this is still something that many of them have never seen. So growth ceiling is a pretty ridiculous calculation, but this spreadsheet kind of does it for us. And so what we're looking at right here is trying to figure out how many members can I max out on based on how many members I have now. So this is the start of the month right here. How many new members I get every single month on average. If you do launches, you just add it all up and divide it by 12, right? And then my churn rate, which is that opposite of retention. So this is a 10% churn, which would mean I'm retaining 90% of my members month to month. And then it calculates everything else for us. Members lost, members gained, etc. We can put our average monthly price in. I put just like a standard $47 a month in here for us to get some of these MRR, which is our monthly recurring revenue number. But what I really want to look at here is this number. It's telling us that the most members we can have is 200 members. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that if I have 500 members now, I get 20 members on average every single month, and I'm losing 10% of those every month. You can see it right here, how it happens. You're just going to keep going down until you get to 200 members, okay? So what most people will do is they'll say, well, I just need to get better at marketing. I just need to put more money in ads. I need to start a YouTube channel now, or whatever it is. And then they go, okay, now I'm going to get, let's say 50. Let's up this to 50 new members a month, right? Even more than doubling the amount of new members we're getting every single month, you know what happens? We just plateau. 500. That's as big as we can get if we don't move our churn rate at all, move that retention rate. So you put all this effort in, and you hit that ceiling and you can't get past 500 members, or you can't get past 1,000 members or 100 members. You're going to get there at some point. Everybody is getting a certain amount of members every single month and a certain amount of churn every month, and eventually we'll hit a growth ceiling. It's just the way the math works. And then we get really fun here when we talk about numbers. I love this spreadsheet because what it's going to do is it's going to help you see the dollar signs behind retention. Okay, so when we look at this at first, we're going to look at starting with 500 members. Okay, same thing we were just looking at, 500 members. But we're going to look at something more like an 80% retention, which I have people come to me all the time who have an 80% retention rate. We still have this $47 here. We're only changing 3 numbers. We've got 500 members, 80% retention, $47. This is telling us one of the most important numbers for a membership owner, your LTV, or your lifetime value. What this means is every new member you get in the door is worth $235 for you if you're charging $47 a month and you have an 80% retention rate. So what I can do now is I can project for you, if you have 500 members and you're earning $235 a member, I can project for you how much that is worth to you. It's $117,000. Okay? It's a good amount of money, right? But what if we increase our retention rate by 10%? What's going to happen? Okay? We just doubled those numbers. So 10% increase in retention rate, and now we get $470 for every new member, which means you can now spend more money to get new members in the door, which is nice, increase that marketing budget. And I'm looking at $235,000, not $117,000. And so 90% retention is something a lot of people shoot for, and that's really amazing and great. But what I want to show you is that we just did a 10% increase in retention to double our numbers. But when you get up past 90%, it gets a lot easier to double.